everybody and welcome to Milestone Study. My name is Anusha and in this video, we are going to talk about the listening section, the entire listening section in PTE, how it works, what questions are there, how you should attempt every question and what you should not do. If you're following this channel, you know that I took a test recently in Nepal when I went there. I got 90 in 3 of the modules and one, which was listening, I got 81. Before this test, I had done a lot of PTE tests for experiments. In those tests, I used to get 90 almost all the time in the listening section. So I want to tell you how I did it, what I did wrong, and how you should attempt the test to get 90 by 90. Also, if you are a beginner and you don't know anything about PTE, you need to watch our format class first and then come back to this video. Because if you don't know the format of the test, you might be confused as to what I'm doing and what you are supposed to do. Now, you can see my screen here. I've got 8 questions here, which is related to listening. The first one will always be summarized spoken text, okay? So I'm going to play the audio for this, and then we will try to see how I did it in the test. You guys can follow the exact thing I'm doing.
Many scientists, myself included, have long been fascinated by animals emitting light from their bodies, a phenomenon known as bioluminescence. This is usually caused by a chemical reaction, either when under attack or while trying to attract a mate. Through our previous research, we believed that bioluminescence in fish was made by the fish themselves. To produce the light, they needed a specific molecule, luciferin, and an enzyme closely related to it, which forces the molecule to act in this way. We thought that the fish produced these two components internally and independently. However, some of our more recent research has shown that, in fact, one species of fish essentially steals these components from its prey and does not produce either of them itself. Rather than self-production, the fish extracts the necessary ingredients during digestion. The fact that the enzyme and molecule are not destroyed during the digestive process has surprised us the most. Although this is a breakthrough in biological science, we still have a lot more to discover to fully understand bioluminescence in fish.
Okay, everybody, so I've got my words here. Now I've picked the words that I feel are nouns and I feel makes the most sense. I've still got 2.5 minutes left, in which I will try to see if I've got all the words correct, all the spellings correct, and I'm confident with the words. If not, then I'll make changes. Commas, full stops, capitalizing, all those have to be exactly as it is. Okay. All right. So this is how I did my summarized spoken text. Next, let's go to the second question. This is the second question, which is highlight correct summary. Now, before I play the audio, let me give you a brief as to how we should actually do it. Now, this time I skipped these questions and ended up getting 81. So normally what you would do, and I'm talking to you who are targeting 79, okay? You're supposed to listen to the audio properly and focus on the main idea and not examples and not specific information. Focus on the overall picture. And then you will rightly get the right answer, okay? Now I'll play the audio. All of you try to get the answer as well together with me. Also, remember that the options are too long. So if you try and look at the options here, read it as the audio is playing, you might get confused. So what I prefer to do is I'll just focus on the audio, maybe take some words, take some notes down, and then look at the options and pick the one I think is right. Okay. All right, let's begin this audio.
The conventional theory of the Big Bang is that the universe started between 13 and 14 billion years ago. What has generally been accepted is that there was a very hot and dense group of particles, and this group filled all of space, at least all of space as we know it. And then the particles expanded quickly. Scientists believe that this expansion was relatively even throughout space. Thanks to findings from the Planck satellite, we can now be more precise about the age of the universe. We can be confident that the universe is around 13.82 billion years old. Research and analysis have helped us to better understand what the Big Bang was, and we can be quite sure that it actually happened. However, what we don't know is whether the universe really began with the Big Bang, or if it existed in some form before the Big Bang. There is evidence to suggest that the explosion was not necessarily the beginning of existence, but rather just the start of our local universe. This line of thinking describes our observable local universe as a pocket universe, within a never-ending amount of dense material that existed long before, for some reason, the Big Bang happened.
I've taken all the notes down, and it basically said that there was theory of Big Bang, which said the universe existed 13 to 14 billion years ago, but it wasn't clear exactly when. Later on, with the help of scientists and Planck satellite, we got to know that it existed 13.82 billion years ago. So the Big Bang happened 13.82, and that's how today's universe has existed. We still don't know if it began right after Big Bang or there was something else before Big Bang, but we definitely know that it was this local universe. That means the universe that we are existing at the moment started after the Big Bang. Yeah, that was it. So now when we look at the options, also the timing, yeah. After the audio stopped, we've got some time to do it. Even if you spend 10 to 20 seconds here, you can still get time to do the write from dictation task, okay? So what resonates with what I just heard? A pocket universe is one that was possibly formed at the same time as the Big Bang. Okay, this is relatively right. Yet scientists are uncertain of when this actually happened. It is impossible to be certain with any accuracy of the time that our local universe was first formed. I would say this is quite not true. So I'll move on. But somehow it feels right. There is an agreement among scientists about what Big Bang involved, but less certainty over whether matter existed before it. Scientific research points to the possibility that the Big Bang was not starting point of everything, and that some form of universe may have. Okay, this also feels right. The Big Bang theory has been misunderstood by decades. Oh, okay. The satellite has discovered new evidence to suggest that particles expanded in. No, this is wrong because they said even sequence. Recent research has demonstrated that the traditional theory of the Big Bang is incorrect and that the expansion failed to reach all areas of known space. The areas that it cover are called pockets. This is wrong. Evidence has been collected to help explain the differences in theory. No, that is not the main idea. Okay, so between A and B, one of them is right. Now, I will think this is B because it wasn't about a pocket universe. It was about what Big Bang involved and whether or not particles or matter existed before it. And they do think that Big Bang was not the starting point, and something was there before it. Okay, so I would choose B in this case. Okay, so that's it for B. So how I did it was eliminated C and D and then left with A and B, because the whole idea was not about a pocket universe. A pocket universe was just one part of the entire audio. I neglected that and then pointed out, and then finally came down to Big Bang theory, Big Bang involved. Okay, what Big Bang involved. That's it. So that is for highlight correct summary. Now let's move on to the next question. Okay, now before we begin, this is called multiple choice question. Only one response is correct. Okay, you won't have a lot of time in the exam to see what the question is, what the options are, and read the instructions and all. So I would suggest that whenever you see a question, what conclusion about our emotional responses can be drawn from the arguments presented in the lecture. That means they are talking about our emotional responses. Okay, so understand this fact that there is negative marking in multiple choice, multiple answer. I'll tell you about it when we come to that question. But this one has no negative marking. This is multiple choice, single answer. Only one response is correct. Okay. So again, they're asking us about emotional responses. Let's do it.
So from this research, psychologists developed a theory about how emotions depend on both cognitive factors, the way that we understand our social surroundings, and on physiological factors, the physical changes caused by the nervous system. From their studies, this theory was developed. A stimulus initiates the physiological response, and at the same time, the stimulus is interpreted in the brain and takes into account previous experiences of similar situations. The brain produces the actual emotion that we experience, and the nervous system produces the degree to which the emotion is felt. So, emotion is a mixture of both cognitive and physiological factors. The studies also found that the mood of an individual sometimes matches that of another. If one person was angry, their associates would get angry. But if that person was euphoric, others too would start to become happier.
Okay. I'm going to pause here. Take 10 to 20 seconds again if you want to risk that. If you don't want to risk that, then just pick a random option and click next, okay? So A is saying our emotions are influenced as much by our companions as our physiology. Okay? They said that our physiology will change the stimulus, and then sometimes we behave as our companions. The theory about the basis of emotions has been undermined by research evidence. No, this doesn't relate to our emotional responses. Interpretation of a stimulus follows a physiological response. No. First, there is a physiological response and then a stimulus. So C would be wrong. Our nervous system helps to determine the extent we feel an emotion. So I'm a bit confused between A and D this time. So our emotions, let's read it. Our emotions are influenced as much by our companions as our... Okay, now I wouldn't consider A because companions and physiology cannot be compared. They said sometimes. So you see, sometimes means not as much. Okay, so that's why A would be wrong. And finally, we're left with D, that our nervous system, that means cognitive brain, will tell us how to respond. That means I would pick D in this case, okay? Though I won't be 100% sure because of the word sometimes, I'll remove A and then choose D. Okay, that's the way we do multiple choice. Let's move on to the next question. Okay. Also remember that I skipped this question as well in the exam. There were 2 of them and I skipped both of them. Okay. In all the questions, I got 2, like 2 highlight correct, 2 multiple choice, 2 missing words, and it was heavy for me to skip those. I did not even expect 81, but I still got it. So you can say that they do contribute a bit of marks. Please beware that if you are getting all of them wrong, then there's chances you won't get your 79, okay? Okay, let's move on to missing words. Now, in this question, you get the audio again, but in the end, they will give you, at the end of the recording, the last word or group of words will be replaced by a beep. Okay, so they will keep speaking, and in the end, they beep. So you have to understand, you have to guess what that beep is. Okay, and reading the options will not help. So up to you, don't try it. I won't read the options. Let's play.
Currently, over a third of the world's landfill sites comprise construction and demolition waste. This is what is generated when buildings are constructed or demolished, or when infrastructure is built. This has led to calls for the industry to minimize waste and become more resource efficient. To reduce the amount of waste ending up in landfill after demolition, circular construction aims to convert building components that are nearing the end of their service life into resources for others. The reuse, recycling, repair, and remanufacturing of materials, coupled with policy measures, regulation, and investment, should ensure the construction industry.
What are they trying to say? They're trying to say that if they reuse, recycle, and they also have policy measures, that they will have dash. They're not concerned with money. They're not concerned with infrastructure. It could be provides benefit or has a sustainable future. The closest with the way they are going in the audio is they will be saying has a sustainable future. Okay. Let's play the last parts once more.
Coupled with policy measures, regulation, and investment, should ensure the construction industry.
So recycling, reusing, and policy measures should ensure that the construction industry has a sustainable future. The construction industry is not going to provide benefit to us. It means that they are going to live for a longer period, that the construction industry will be there for the long run. Okay, so B is the right answer in this case. If you didn't know the answer in the exam, just pick a random one you feel is the closest, but don't waste your time here. Okay. Okay, now coming to the next question. All right, fill in the blanks.
In the US, each plastic container has a number printed onto it. These numbers show the type of plastic used, and they let people know how to recycle the plastic. However, plastic remains one of the main sources of pollution in our oceans and food chain. Finding out exactly what to do with used plastic can be difficult, and many consumers simply don't know what the different numbers indicate.
So what happens normally is a student will feel that they did their 100%, but that 100%, their 100% is not enough for the exam. Okay, so in that case, you don't wait in the exam hall. You don't wait for the divine source of power to come and give you those, idea about the answers. You go home, you analyze your performance, and then you go back to the test again. Okay, if you did not get your score, if you got your score with that much of 100% of yours, then it's enough. Okay, so all I'm trying to say is don't waste your time. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 answers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 answers. These are the right answers. Okay, I hope you got it right. Let's go to the next question. Okay, now this one is highlight incorrect words. Okay, I have my stamp ready. I'll play the audio and we'll highlight the words.
Cultural anthropology is the study of human societies, cultures, and their emergence around the world. Its focus is enculturation and socialization, as well as practices and faith systems in different regions. One of the first anthropologists in this field proclaimed that there is no direct relationship between culture and race, as his ethnographical research began to illustrate. Over the years, this branch of anthropology has adopted the idea of cultural relativism.
A word was missing in this place. I kept looking for the word, but it wasn't there, so it was better for me to move on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 answers. And this one was also a bit tricky because they said adopted. Here it's written adapted. Okay, so adapted, A sound, adopted, O sound. Both of them are different words. You have to pick it. Yeah, I won't say this would be hard if you are used to hearing native speakers. If you are not used to hearing native speakers, then this would be quite difficult. And on top of it, it has got negative marking. So when you see negative marking, this also gives you reading marks. So negative markings would also affect the reading section. Okay. All right, in the exam, you get 2 or 3 of them, but I'm going to skip the next one. Now, this is called multiple choice, multiple answer. You see there are more options, and the question is there. What does the speaker suggest about the earliest image of the bicycle-like machine? And one more thing you can notice here, you will need to select more than one response. So this means it's multiple choice, multiple answer. It's up to you. You can pick as many answers you like, but I would suggest only picking one because of the chances of getting negative mark. And most of the time when we listen to the audio, it's likely that we get that one answer right, okay? And this time, I'm not going to listen to it first. I will listen to it and also click it at the same time. I won't like to spend another second even for this question. Okay, so we'll hear it out.
So, as we continue to look at the history of some of the most groundbreaking innovations, I'll start today with a brief history of the bicycle. It's difficult to pinpoint the first invention of a bicycle-like machine, and there are several historic claims to be considered. I think the earliest representation of one is found in a collection of Leonardo da Vinci's drawings dating from the 15th and 16th century. The sketch of the two-wheeled wooden machine was thought to be done by one of da Vinci's apprentices in 1534, and although this claim lacks substantial evidence, we do know many of the drawings in the collection are attributed to people other than da Vinci himself, as at that time he had a large number of assistants who worked on developing his ideas as well as adding their own inspiration. That said, many people do nonetheless maintain that the sketch is an authentic da Vinci, and they have rejected the claims of a historian who declared it was a fraud in 1998.
Okay, now what I feel is the earliest image was carved out of wood is one right answer, but I also feel it was leveled forgery is also right because in 1998 they gave a specific date. So this could be right and this could be right, but because as I said, I'm not too sure and I'm scared of negative marking, I will only pick one answer, okay? So I'll pick B in this case. Okay, then comes the next question, which is right from dictation.
Setting aside regular meal times helps with time management.
So first I wrote the entire sentence. Setting aside regular meal times helps with time management. Okay, so what I did was set aside regular meal times, then help with time management. Okay, so I just wrote extra words like this, but remember that I knew each and every word in that sentence. I did not miss any word, and even the spellings were right. Okay, so this one was like this. Okay, and still I got 90 in the writing section and 81 in the listening section. I'm missing all those multiple choice questions as well. So always consider that, okay? So let's go to the next question for right from dictation. And we also know that right from dictation is most important. Gives you more marks towards writing and lesser marks towards listening.
Most current smart devices routinely gather location data.
This is called initial method. If you haven't watched my previous videos on this, you can watch that. So most current smart devices routinely gather location data. like this. And then that's all. So I increase some words side by side. Okay. And then we've got one last question.
Subsistence farming aims to yield sufficient produce to satisfy local requirements.
So if this is an if case, if a student writes something like this, subsistence farming to satisfy local requirements, don't expect full marks. Okay? You're not getting full marks. Whether you write local requirements, sub, insistence, whatever, however you do, this is not going to give you full marks. I did not do it this way. I wrote the full sentence first and then added the words, okay? So subsistence farming So subsistence farming aims to yield sufficient produce to satisfy local requirements. I'll definitely write requirements, and then I'll write aims and aim. I'll also write extra A. Yeah, satisfy or satisfied. That's it. Okay. This is how I submitted my answers in the real exam, not in the mock test, not in any practice websites. And I got 90 in writing and 81 in the listening section, having skipped all the other small questions. Okay. All right, guys, I hope that it created a bit of value in your life towards your PTE journey. Also remember that my essay template and my summarized written text, drop down questions, they were also correct. Plus the listening section correct, except the ones that I did not do. If I had got 90 in the listening section, I would like proudly and with confidence, I would suggest do this and do that. But I missed some points. Therefore, I'd suggest for 79, be careful with those tiny questions. You can add extra words, but also be careful with the tiny questions. For 65, even if you don't worry about the small questions and you add extra words, you can still score 65. Okay. If you're somebody who's looking to take coaching and detailed analysis, you need feedback on your performance, then remember us. I'll leave all the contact details in the description below. If you're somebody who's preparing on your own, please watch all our videos on YouTube for free. And you can still get your target score. Many of you have been messaging us, telling us that you are getting your score by watching our videos and using our tricks. We are so grateful and we are so thankful that we are capable of helping so many students from this platform. And also we are going to hit 60K very soon. For that, we are organizing 1 hour session for 6 lucky minutes. Please feel free to participate in that. More details coming soon. Also, let us know what kind of videos you'd like to watch from this channel. Stay tuned. This is Anusha.